For more on this, I want to welcome in Republican strategist Terry Holt, former senior advisor to Speaker John Boehner. So Camp Haley has to like the numbers right now. What is it about her strengths that seem to be landing some momentum to that campaign?
Well, we're at a dangerous time in the world, and her foreign policy credentials have made her pitch a little bit more compelling than some of the other folks. She seems to be on point and seems to be very savvy when it comes to handling these kinds of international issues. But I think what's significant about Haley at this point is that while everyone else has basically the same poll numbers, she's the only one that has any movement at all. And like your correspondent just said, this isn't just a two-man race like it was several months ago. This is now a one-man, one-woman race with Haley clearly having the momentum on her side.
And how concerned is Ron DeSantis and his team right now not seeing the same sort of movement that Haley is getting?
Well, they're concerned enough to turn their fire on Nikki Haley. They're planting questions at Haley rallies. They're really running against Nikki Haley at this point rather than Donald Trump. If you're in a race for second place, you're going to just get second place. What the Republican Party needs to do is align behind a candidate that can beat Donald Trump, or maybe we'll wind up with Donald Trump. He seems to continue to have a commanding lead in the polls. And if Ron DeSantis is just talking about Nikki Haley, he's not making up any ground on Donald Trump.
Want to look forward, but got to talk about Mike Pence dropping out so far in advance of the Iowa caucuses. Did that surprise you at all?
It doesn't surprise me. Mike is a principled conservative, but his story and his timeline were inexorably linked with January 6th. And wherever he went, he had to talk about January 6th in the context of his role and what he did with it. He was a polished candidate. He had positions on all of the big issues of our time. He had a compelling rationale for a candidacy, but not when Donald Trump is such a dominant figure on the political landscape. Mike Pence just couldn't get out of Donald Trump's shadow.
And former President Trump has said Pence should endorse him. What are the chances of that?
Well, I don't think they're good. I think Pence, perhaps with his book and some of the things that he said, I think he'll sit this one out. But he is a good Republican. If Trump were the nominee, I wouldn't surprise me after Trump is the nominee that he does go ahead and endorse Trump. But I think it's way too early to tell. I think that Pence does legitimately hope that an alternative to Trump will arise and that he can back that person.
As we get ready for the third debate, it'll be in about a week from now from Miami. What will you be watching for from the candidates who take that stage?
Well, you know, it's interesting. When we started talking about these debates in the summertime and who was going to qualify for them, there was an undercurrent of cynicism that they wouldn't really mean anything, that it wouldn't identify anybody or raise anybody's standards because Donald Trump wasn't going to be involved. Well, that's definitely not been the case. Nikki Haley has been a great debater. She's been the focus of victories around the debate stage. She's managed to leverage those victories into real and critical support now. So I look for the other candidates to really take on Nikki Haley and try to upset her momentum going into this next stage of the campaign.
We mentioned a moment ago the Trump camp is now taking some shots at Nikki Haley, who may be concerned by some of the poll numbers that we're seeing. He's still far ahead, but do you think that that's enough to entice him to participate in one of these upcoming debates?
No, I think he's such a lock on his front runner status that it would be just a risk with no reward for him to participate in the debates. He's managed to put himself above the fray, and I think he intends to stay there.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.